Then we're live. I don't know. I think I say that same joke every week. I'm not really sure. Good thing no one's on there in the first few minutes.
It's kind of funny.
It's kind of ridiculous. I'm going to wait for people to get on here before I start running my mouth. I'm going to turn the volume down there. What's up, Hales Teach? I'm trying to see where my... there it is. Leah Pratt's back. Oh, Turtle, did you change your name? Change your profile name just to make the joke. Tall Tal's on here. What's up, brother? I'm gonna make a little. Let's shout Tall Tal out in a second. I'll wait till some people get on here so they can send them over there. Yeah, Thompson, the guy from that I talked to from Michael and Kelly Twitter. Jeez. What's up, everybody? I'm just waiting for everyone to get in here, and then I'll start running my mouth, tell you where I was this week, which was awesome, which is a place that you should go get involved in as well, I think, because it was super cool. So I always want to say hi to everyone, but then I'm going to run into someone's name that I can't pronounce, and then I'm going to make them feel bad. That's my thought process. Which is why, I'm actually doing something about this right now. I'm doing a video about it, but before I jump into this, I can't pronounce so many students' names, and it's just because I can't, I don't know what it is in my head. And so I end up making nicknames for most of the students, and it's just kind of fun too. So most of my students have nicknames that are ridiculous. I don't know who Young King is, but I see you saying, "Hey, Reynolds," and that looks like a student kind of thing. So I'm not sure who that is. So look, I think that's it. I'm going to jump in now. Good. 2 minutes in. Do you need to note that situation?
No. Okay, go ahead.
For stuff that I won't talk about because you told me not to talk about it.
Shut up.
All right. I'm going to jump in and do my little ramble, and then we'll get started. So everyone, thank you. This is Sunday Night Teacher Talk. Sunday Night Teacher Talk is a show, I guess, that is developed around the idea that Sunday nights are terrifying for a lot of teachers, especially this time of year. You're getting ready to go back into school. Even 15 years in, I still have nightmares. I forgot my pants. I don't think that's a real thing. I did one time forget my shoes, and I showed up to school in my slippers, and that was freaking hilarious. Do you remember that happening?
Yes.
Yes, that was awesome.
I think you put it on Instagram.
I did put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
It was a very comfy day, though. So, look, the idea here is you show up, you put any question that you want. Nothing is off the table except for the weird Satan guy that shows up sometimes in the comments section, and I will answer anything that you're thinking about. On the flip side of that, if this is not enough for you, we have a Facebook group called Real Rap With Reynolds Teacher Talk on Facebook. There's a closed group. All you have to do is answer a couple of questions so that we're sure you're a teacher and you're not a business or something like that. You get into the group. You can ask anything you want there and get tons of help on anything that you need. If that's enough, I do private mentoring, folks. You can check out my website, realrapwithreynolds.com, and sign up for mentoring. I do half-hour or hour sessions with people as often as you want. And that's an option as well. Or I just come to your school, talk to the whole school. So,
smokes.
That's a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm going to shout out my homie in the chat section here. Tall Tal. Tall Tal is Tal Thompson. You can find him on Twitter. He's going to start a YouTube channel soon. He has a YouTube channel already, but he's going to start making new content soon. And he was on Michael and Kelly some years ago. You guys might remember when he won Teacher of the Year on there. And he's a real cool dude. I got to talk with him and stuff, and we're trying to figure out a way to work together in the future. So, I just wanted to shout that dude out. And then to all my other homies in the chat here, look, if you're new here, I don't have an answer for anything. That's why it's called Real Rap with Reynolds and not just faking it with Reynolds, because that would be weird name for a show. But if you have questions, it is common for people in the comment section to answer your questions as well, to try and help you out, to give you advice, to try and connect with you outside of the chat in a way that just tries to help you out. So if that's happening and you're like, why is this lady, why is Unicorns Rock talking to me right now? It's because that's how it goes down. Even though it's the Reynolds show, it should be Reynolds and the Gang or something like that. Is that it? Oh, I went real quick. I just want to tell you where I was this week. if you don't follow Jen Jones on Instagram, you need to. And I don't say that often about people, but Jen Jones is a literacy, I'm going to say expert. I'm going to say she's a literacy expert. And so she was in Princeton, New Jersey, and she asked me, she just asked if I wanted to come up and check out her Hello LitCon. It's called #Hello LitCon, which is a conference that she runs over 2 days up in Princeton. And it's awesome. I learned so much stuff that I don't usually take notes of things because I like to just be present and listen. But I was there with Bridget from the Letter Classroom, and Bridget takes she takes notes on everything. Like, I think if I was just had Bridget over for dinner, she would start taking notes on things. So she and I were there, and although I did just take a picture of all her notes, it was so incredibly informative. And Jen speaks all over the country all the time, but Hello LitCon is going to be in a couple more cities. And I just wanted to bring this up because, one, it was awesome. And this isn't like a partnership. I'm not getting paid for this or anything like this. Jen doesn't even know that I'm talking about this right now. But she also said that if we know anyone that's a first or second year teacher, she's going to give 50% off to those individuals that want to go to her conference, because she understands that first and second year teachers do not make a lot of money a lot of times, and they receive crappy PD. Like, PD in schools largely sucks.
Just first year teachers in general need more PD.
Yeah. So like, it is an option. So I just wanted to put that out there. All you have to do is go to just Google Jen Jones, and you'll find the Hello LitCon link, and then you can email her. You can even tell her that Reynolds sent you over there, that if you go, hey, I heard I get 50% off, you can just say, Reynolds told me, so put the blame on me and I'll take it. But that's what she told us, and I wanted to just communicate that to all of you. So Hello LitCon for 50% off Jen Jones's conference, and dude, I swear to you, it's worth it. And I'd like to say you get your money back, if not, but I don't make that much money on YouTube, so
heck no.
No, I can't do that. So that's it. Let's jump into some questions here. Maisie Anderson is asking, I have school tomorrow and I am so scared. Any tips? Or no? Yeah, Maisie. Maisie, I would say wine is a good option. No, so it is a good option, but I think, look, one, this doesn't really help necessarily, but there's no getting over that. It will happen every year, and it happens in varying degrees. I don't get like as paralyzed afraid as I used to, because I'm just used to it, because I know what those first couple of days are going to look like. But just remember that this is the only time you'll ever have if it's your first time ever or your first time of this year. And look, there's a couple of things there. One, it's good to remember what it feels every year. It makes you empathetic towards other teachers. Two, it is, even if your hair catches on fire and all goes wrong, the whole day goes wrong, and it's a nightmare, you can always fix it. And so what I suggest that you do is, if you go on the Facebook group, or if you come back here next week and something does go wrong, just put it in the question section and in the comments there, and we will help you work it out. Not just me, but all these other 84 people that are on here right now, and the thousands of other people that will watch us in the future. Just know that, like, it's everything's going to be okay, and just go in. And what I suggest doing, right, and I say this all the time, and you don't have to do it just because I'm saying it, I find that going in the first day and telling students that you're excited to be there works a lot better than, all right, listen, sixth grade this year, all right? Not messing around. This is in fifth grade. Guys are big now, and we're going to be serious about work this year. Like, that doesn't work like, it just sucks. Like, it's like every teacher does that every year for the most part. And so going in next year and saying tomorrow and saying how excited you are is really going to win kids over. And then be present in the hallways, at the door, at the end of the day, like shaking kids' hands, saying what's up, asking them about that weird t-shirt that they have on. You're not sure what that band is because now you're old. Because even if you don't know it yet, now you're old. Like, connecting with kids on that level will help you be kids to see you, seeing them, and then that will just help in ways that you can't even understand yet. But I swear it will pay off. Joanne Markov. What's up, Joanne? Joanne's always on here. She's always asking thoughtful questions, and I appreciate it. 2 questions. How do you introduce the Odyssey? I've done it 3 different ways now, and I'm not sure if any of them are perfect. And 2, I keep trying to buy PDF Element, but they won't respond. Advice. They never got back to me either when I emailed them. Maybe they closed up shop. What if they went out of business?
Stop it.
Can you make a note?
I did.
I did, but I'm gonna hit up my
emailed.
contact at PDF Element.
Well, I told her already in the comments. I said to just email us and that we would forward it to her.
Okay, you told her that already.
Mm-hmm.
All right, dope. So how do I introduce the Odyssey? Look, there's a couple of ways. One, I talk about the hero's journey, which is Joseph Campbell, and there's a really great. If you type in hero's journey TED Talk, there's like a TED Talk that comes up about it, and it's animated. It's really well done, and it only takes a couple of minutes to show your students. The other thing is, look, everyone's life is, if we take it, this is where the inspirational music plays. Everyone's life is on a hero's journey, right? There's a way that you got to where you are now, right? Like it is because of decisions that you made or things that happened in your life that ended up you becoming the individual that you are now. And so I started off by doing two. One, we talk about oral tradition, which is stories passed by word of mouth, and then we write our own ghost stories, or one-page ghost story that has never been told before. And then I make my room look like, I put like on my smartboard or on the projector, I play like a fireplace. I put black curtains over the window so it's really dark. We set up fake little battery. I almost said butter-powered candles. They are not powered by butter. That's impossible that I know of. Battery-powered candles. They sit in like this cool chair, and we read the stories in like this environment. Sometimes I put on like kind of creepy music also, which you can just find on YouTube. And that's one way. The other way is I do something called a life map that is your life in 10 moments that from birth till now that got you from where you started to where you are now. Someone died, someone was born, you moved, you met a friend, you lost somebody, you got, I don't know, you got a girlfriend, you won the championship, you lost the championship, whatever it was, what were those 10 moments? And what that does is the students present that on a PowerPoint, and then that gives me first a real glimpse into who students see, like how they see themselves, what they've been through, and how they present, how they make projects, like all within the first week of school, we do this. And it's really, really good indicator of 1,000 different things. And it's really fun. And gives kids, it's exciting because they get to talk about themselves. And that's the easiest thing to ever present on. You want to present on, I don't know, the migrating habits of the humpback whale. You got to like remember stuff. Your life, you already remembered it. You're not going to forget the card. It'll be cool.
Oh, Young King said it's Muppet.
Oh, Muppet. Young King is Muppet. Muppet is in a ton of videos on my channel, and he is an outstanding dude. And yeah, Muppet's in the book. Muppet doesn't even know he's going to be in the book yet, but Muppet's in the book.
Now Muppet knows.
Now you know Muppet. You're in the book. Well, I only call you Muppet, but I explain him and his magical ways. Davalise? I think, am I saying that right? Davalise? Campuzano? I really apologize. I'm so bad at names. I'm not even trying to be funny. It's just kind of embarrassing. What are your tips for high school? As a student, I would say my tips are, one, you have to learn to advocate for yourself if you don't already, right? Like I think the world is about learning how to advocate for yourself, like stand up for yourself. Like if you need help, asking for it. If you need something restated in a different way, like asking for it. If you need to retake a test or you were absent and you need the notes, going to teachers and asking for things that you need is crucial. And it's just a good life practice also. I think also learning how to have difficult conversations. So if you don't like a test or a quiz grade that you got, or you don't like the fact that you got in trouble in class because it wasn't you, it was the kid behind you, that whole thing, because that was always me. I was the kid behind the kid that got in trouble. Okay, so I would say just being open to that and going in and saying, hey, I would like to talk to you about what happened in class today, but doing it in a way that doesn't blame the teacher, right? Even if you think the teacher was 100% wrong, it's about trying to gain clarity on what the teacher did or saw or how they acted, right? I'm trying to wrap my head around how I got in trouble today, and I just wanted to come and talk to you about it. And so those two things are going to really, they're like real world like activities. One of the things I try and explain to my students all the time is, why are we doing something? Like, why do we read? Why do we write? Why do you have to listen to other people when they're talking? Why do you have to learn your story? Why do you have to, like, their own personal story? Like, why do you have to learn to communicate? Because they're all skills, and I break it down so they know exactly why we're doing it. Because otherwise, because it's on the test or because I said so, are not good answers. Those answers suck, and teachers should never use them. And so trying to break it down is really important. And so you're just going to learn that skill. And those are the two things I would say to do. So look, best of luck to you. I think it's awesome. High school is hard freshman year, but I went to the worst high school in South Jersey. But by 10th grade into 10th grade, it was the best. And not because of the classes. I could have cared less about class. I just liked my friends. Jessica Strong is asking, what are your tips for starting college classes? This is my second 16-week college classes, and I'm taking English and health class. So that, do you have any suggestions on how to prepare for college courses? Jessica, I would ask, I think it's worth asking your professors. I don't think enough students do this, even in high school, right? This could go back to the other question. Asking students or asking professors or teachers, how can I, like, what's the best way to do well in your class or to crush your class? Like, is it making sure I'm doing the reading? Is it studying certain stuff? Is it listening to notes? Is it taking notes? Like, what is it about your class that's going to help me to do well? And then for me, it was, and if anyone else has answers to this on the side, I'm getting distracted with my ADD, but Dave Elise Campuzano broke her name down. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So I found it best I found study groups to be the best. Like, learning by myself, even right now, like in some side projects that I'm working on, and I'm working with other people that are working at a very high level, that are like type A, super prepared kind of stuff. Like they, or even in school, like if I put myself in groups with other teachers that are super type A, really detail oriented, it raises my production level. And so I think that's the move. I would put myself in a classroom around good people. I would ask the professor, and then I would put myself in study groups with really smart people. Don't go for the cute people, because the cute people don't always know what they're doing, right? Sometimes I always paired myself up with all moms, because moms have no time for play. They went back to school. The kids are at home. They're on borrowed time anyway, and they got to crush this thing because they're tired of working at, greeting people at Walmart, and they want to get it become something else. And so those were always my partners, all the moms.
That's who I partnered in.
Plus I had you, babe. I didn't need those cute girls. I had you. I got you, babe. Mm-hmm. Kathy Toner is saying, hey, CJ, I'm going to be a new teacher this fall, and there aren't enough classrooms for teachers to get their own room. I will most likely have to share both rooms. I'll be using, hold on, there's another. Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for classroom management, layout, decor, etc., and routines for classrooms? I do. So I will say I've had to share rooms before, and it sucks. I don't really like sharing rooms. And this is why, right? Like, my wife is like, like I'm crushing dreams here. But here's why. Because you see my room. I don't want to share my room. Gosh, if somebody new comes in my room today and they're like, this year, and they're like, can I put some posters on the wall? I'm like,
no.
I don't really think they match my style. That's why I've literally taken up every piece of wall.
You have a new wall space for your.
I do have a new wall space, and guess what?
Does that mean Ed gets to decorate it?
Because Ed might be on here right now.
Ed's not listening.
Ed, he's probably still sleeping. So I don't like doing that because I like my own flow too. Now look, it is possible that you share a room with someone that really likes the room. It's possible that you share a room with someone that doesn't care about decor. Like, I have friends at school that have one poster that's hanging by one push pin that looks like it's been there for 4 or 5 years, just hanging on by a thread. It looks like the apocalypse in the room. And so I think what I would do if I went back, Taz did this. My friend Taz split the room in half. One side of the room was his. It had his classroom library on it. It had his posters, his procedures, all his own stuff. And the other side of the room Well, it was just sad and meaningless because that teacher didn't do anything to it. But I like that idea of kind of splitting the room in half. And then it comes down to talking with that other teacher and saying like, hey, how do you do your, like, what do you think the best in your space? If you've been in here before, what's the best way to kind of set up seating? And then try to work around that as best you can. Like if they have rows and you don't want rows, like what are some ways that you can kind of like work with them to do that? Maybe you include a stand-up desk in the back. Maybe you let students sit somewhere else or on the floor or on the windowsills and stuff. So there's room in that. And then for the other things, classroom management, all that stuff, I have videos on all of those things. And there's actually a playlist. If you go to my website, if you go to my YouTube channel, and in this, actually not even in the search bar, like at the top where it says like about, channels, all that stuff, pick playlists. And there's a playlist that's geared towards first year teachers. And you'll find videos out on classroom management, on why I do my seating chart the way that I do, on how I run classroom points every day, all that stuff. How I do my first day of class, how I do my second day of class. Third day of class apparently isn't as important because I never made that video. Maybe we should make that one this year. It'll probably be really uneventful. My good friend Hannah May from Australia. It's my Australian accent there.
I thought she was New Zealand.
She's from, look.
Oh, dang it. Why can we never keep this straight?
New Zealand is just Australia's little brother. All right?
Are you sure?
I don't know. I just offended everyone in Australia or New Zealand. Love the beginning, Ramble Reynolds. Thank you, Hannah. That's what I do. My wife and I were joking that the next book I write should be called Short Question, Long Answer. That should be the new name of the book. Questions. I have a student who has been brought back from school from street life, year 8. He sees no point, engagement near impossible. Suggestions, please. Hannah, I've been saying this up to people a lot, and I don't know if I said it on a live feed, but I just thought it just hit me so profoundly that I've been telling everyone this. I heard a quote the other day that was an add-on to, we've all heard like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So this dude in the podcast, he doesn't even know where he heard it. Said you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink, but you can make it incredibly thirsty. And so what that means is, how can you make success, class, the world appealing to people? And so for those of you that know, like when I got the chance to go up and meet Gary Vaynerchuk, like, so for those of you that don't know, Gary Vaynerchuk is like this multi-millionaire, like CEO of VaynerMedia in New York City. And I took a group of students up there. And when we were there, like that trip literally changed the lives of students. And one student in particular that it changed the life of, he is like, he's in college now because of it. Like it literally changed his life. And this was a kid that had been in high school for 5 years, that I've known for 5 years, that I've been working on and working on and working on and working with to try and like help him out, and nothing worked. But with the right person, with the right message at the right time, it changed things. And so Hannah and I have had this conversation before where like, she lives like in a part of Australia that's like not near everything else. So what do you do if you live somewhere that is not like, you can't just shoot up to New York City? And I suggest using Skype. I think trying to find people with students' interest. What if you found somebody they follow on Instagram, they think their art's cool, they like their skateboarding, it's a gamer that they like, and you communicate through DM, because I think DM is the white space. You go on a DM on Instagram and ask that person if they would do a 10-minute, that's it. I know you're busy. Do you have 10 minutes to try and just speak to a kid that I'm trying desperately to get through to? I mean, if they see that, who could say no to that? It's not about you. It's not about you becoming cool. You're not trying to get them to like make you look like an awesome teacher. You're trying to instead shine light on a student that really is like in the darkness. And so just doing that sometimes, like, and then what does that kid think of you if you can make that connection? I think the second thing that I would do in that situation is remember, right? And this is a hard one because this kind of leaves you less in control of the situation. We as teachers are planting seeds. That's our job. We plant seeds. And when you plant a seed, some seeds grow really quickly, like morning glories here in the US. Like you plant that thing, that friggin' thing takes over your whole yard. It's all over the place. It looks like madness. But if you grow bamboo, right, or asparagus, you don't even see them. They're just growing roots for a long time. And then all of a sudden bamboo like skyrockets out of nowhere and it takes over your whole yard. But it's because it has this like deep root structure, and you just don't know when you're planting seeds, when you are like putting things like out there for kids to kind of like pick up on, whether or not they are a morning glory or they are bamboo tree. And so I don't know if bamboo's a tree. Anyway, that I would keep those two things in mind. And then please let me know how those work out. And if you can't get someone through a DM, maybe we can figure out something together. So hit me up and I'll try and help you with anything that I can. Teacher Geek is asking, I am going to be teaching SPED intervention for 8th grade. What do you do on your first week back with the students? So I'm going to tell you, but teaching SPED intervention for 8th grade. So first of all, I just want to say that how much love I have for SPED teachers, because they are like literally in the world of education, they're probably the least funded for something that should be the most funded, and they get the least amount of attention and resources and backup from schools out of everyone, I think. And so that, like, thank you for even doing this, especially in 8th grade. Whew.
I know.
This makes you hot, right?
Right.
I would say, look, I think I have videos on this as well. Like, again, I have videos on my channel that are, what do I do my first day? What do I do my second day? What do I do for, like, how do I get to know my students, building relationships? Those are all videos that already exist. So I don't want to like recount too much of that information, but I think making connections with students and letting them know that you're excited to be there is the biggest thing. And this is why, because too many people don't focus on that. Teachers make everything teachery all the time, right? So like, even if they have, who am I kind of a thing, they have an icebreaker, like those are great things, right? I'm not against them. I don't use icebreakers, but like I'm not against them. I think they're a good idea. But it's like, what does it look like in the in-between times when you're just talking to a student? Like I said earlier, like if you see someone with a band t-shirt on and you don't know what that band is, hey, yo, bro, come here for a second. What is this? What's this band that you have on you? And they tell you, oh, it's this band that I really love, name blah, blah, blah. And then you look into that music and then you use it in a lesson. That kid is in for life. Like, just imagine for a moment if in a word, I sound like I'm on the Twilight Zone. Imagine you're in a universe. Imagine you are in high school and whatever your favorite band is, right? Maybe it was One Direction, maybe it was Barry Manilow. I don't know how old you are, but like if your teacher had heard that you liked that, or you liked a movie, or you really liked a TV show that was like geared towards you, right? It wasn't what they were watching. It was, The 100 or Riverdale or, I don't know, Love and Hip Hop, whatever it was. And they used it in a lesson to get your attention. It would have meant everything. If someone had taught through anything from Tribe Called Quest to Pearl Jam to Star Wars, like it would have blown my mind in high school. And so I think that's what it is. It's connecting with students on that level in the in-between class times to find out who they are, what they're about, and how they work. And then using that to like get to know who they are, and then using in your class is the move in education. Sarah is asking, is it early to start YouTube when you're getting your master's in teaching, or will there be enough to talk about? I think it would be so fun and helpful to make one, but I just got into teacher college. So Sarah, I think it's never too early to start a YouTube channel. Wouldn't it be interesting, right? So you're going back for your master's. So like kids that are going for their undergrad, they're trying to figure out about education classes, about like if you started like working on the side as a substitute, or you started working in as a tutor or something like that, or all the stuff you're learning in college, like that's going to be really informative to someone, because your ordinary is someone else's extraordinary. Also, I think it's interesting, what am I thinking of? The sheer amount of stuff that you think is going to happen when you become a teacher versus what it's really like is going to be fantastic. As a parent, I have interviewed my children any number of times where I just ask them regular questions. It's like, hey, you just turned 8. Who's your best friend? What's your favorite cereal? What TV show do you like best? Like what do you like best about mom? What do you like best about dad? And those interviews are some of my favorite things that I've ever done with my kids, because to go back even 4 years ago and look at it, it is like, it just makes you remember how quick your kids grow, and you're going to see how much you've grown as an individual. So I think that's a really great idea. So I say go for it. And look, just remember when you're putting out YouTube videos that you cannot count on people just jumping on and watching it. Like, make them for you, because no one's probably going to find you in the beginning, but that's okay. If you're making them for you, then that will keep you going. And then you will probably be the only YouTuber out there that has stuff from college about them once they get, into teaching. What you got, dude? Winter, what's up? Winter, did you change I think you changed your profile picture. That looks different now. Hi, I need help. I got offered a job with more pay and better culture. The problem is I start school tomorrow at my current school. Is it horrible if I leave at this point? Oh, dude.
Ultimately, my answer would be no. It's hard, no one's saying that. Nobody wants to, but you have to do what's best for you. I think better now than 10 months in or 6 months in.
I would say ultimately, yeah, it sucks, right? Like if I was a department head, a principal, someone, a student, a parent from that school, and you left like right before, one part of me thinks that is a really lame thing to do. The other part of me, having taught in a school where I made no money, like at this point in my life, it is literally laughable how little I made, in like almost like a ridiculous sense, right? Like not even like I'm not laughing at myself. It's just the absurdity of how much I made is hilarious.
For where we live. I don't think the amount is
no. Because if you worked in Oklahoma and made that much, you'd probably be over the moon. But like for where we live and the cost of living, where
it was very
right,
low.
Here's an insight into Reynolds' life. There were times in my first year teaching when I couldn't afford toilet paper, I couldn't afford food, I couldn't afford the gas to get to school. I would like literally be praying on my drive to school.
No, wait, I think that was your second year, because we had one kid and one on the way.
Oh, okay. So even if it's my second year, right?
Yeah.
The reason I left that school, the primary reason, except for the fact that it was not a very good place, is that I couldn't afford to live there, to work there anymore. I had 2 kids, I had a mortgage, I had 2 cars. Like I needed to work somewhere that I made more money. So for me, it's always about first, it's my family and what can I do to provide for my family. And so if that's going to really help you provide for your family better, I would just do it. And it's like, you have to think about your own family first. And so in the future, even with business opportunities, like people always want to know, like, well, would you do that? Would you ever leave teaching? Would you ever do this? Would you ever do this? And it's like, my answer is always what is best for my family first is what is the number one thing. So that I think that's how to think about it. And only you can answer those types of questions. So that's a really good question though, man. That's a hard decision to make.
Mm-hmm. It's not easy.
Ryan is asking, what are you most looking forward to this school year? I think, I don't even know if it's like school. I have so much other stuff going on that later this month, I'll talk about some of those things. And then my book will come out this year. I have a bunch of conferences that I'm really excited about this year. I'm hoping that the book turns into opportunities this year. So like, and then those opportunities also lead themselves just to like helping students out with stuff. So one of my dreams is actually to do speaking engagements and then to take students with me to both be a part of the speaking engagement, but also like get out of it. Like, see, like, I love that I'm building something right through YouTube and other things I'm doing that are literally showing my students like what it looks like to build something, to work hard, to grind through hard times and get to somewhere. And to be able to incorporate them into a talk and let them kind of tell their own story, it makes it not just the me show. It makes it like, here's some dudes that like are actually like amazing and have been through it. Let's hear from them. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to do that with some certain students. And to be honest, I also have some guys, I guess I'm looking forward to and not looking forward to. The fact that they're going to graduate this year, like my guy DJ Dirty Kev and Ham and all these dudes that have been on the YouTube channel for the last 3 years are like all getting ready to graduate, and that's always like makes me sad for certain dudes to be done, because it's, you know, you build relationships over these guys for 4 years and then you miss them. What did you want to show me on there?
Nothing.
Okay.
That was a continuation. It's like part 2. I didn't know it was there.
Totes. Sarah is asking also, how do you pick your age group? You seem like you could do any age group, like diverse skills, personality that could fit with little kids or young adults. What made you choose your age group? So can we let so I'm going to answer that, but Unicorns, I see you have your hands full, but Tracy's not on here today. She's at a school picnic. She picked a teacher school picnic over the live feed this evening. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, but I just want you to know, so like you're
flying solo.
So you and the not so secret wife are flying solo this evening. Or flying, it's not solo, it's like, well.
Oh, that's true.
How did I pick? So look, my whole life, right? It was not an easy thing for me to admit when I was younger because it was a little bit weird. My whole life, children have like gravitated towards me. And I mean that in a way where like if I went to a family party or the grocery store, kids just talk to me. Right. And I think part of that is because I like talking to kids and I put off that kind of energy. And I think that's because I talk to kids. I've never talked to kids, not even my own children, with like in baby talk before. It's always like asking them about them and what do they like the most? Same kind of stuff I do now. But over the years, like that was a weird thing when I was like 17, 18, 19 years old. So like I'd literally be in Home Depot and some kid would walk up to me and be like, like my fish just died, or I really like basketball, but I don't know if I want to play. Like why are you telling me this right now? Like, you know, but you're coming at this information. And now I still know what it is, but I'm far more comfortable dealing with it because I'm 42 years old. But that made me think that like I really could teach any grade, or I would enjoy teaching any grade, because I think they all have their challenges and stuff. But I know my hardest time in life was my freshman year of high school. That was really difficult for me. And I was going through a lot of changes. My family was going through a lot of changes. And so I thought, and I never had a teacher that was like the teacher. Like I never had someone that I'm like, oh, I went into teaching because of Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, and they were so wonderful and it made me want to teach. I didn't have that teacher. So I wanted to be someone for the students that needed that now. So that's what I show up as. Like I show up with my radar up for who might need someone to talk to listen to confide in. And that's how I went about it. And so that's how I picked the age that I picked. Brenda, oh man. No, I feel like we haven't seen Brenda in a while.
No.
Brenda is wonderful.
I'm sure she's still there.
Oh, she just said, I usually can't be here, but I wanted to ask. Thank you, Brenda. I will have all grades 9 through 12 in all my classes. Brenda, what are you talking about? In all my classes. Any thoughts on how to group mixed grades? Any thoughts on how to group mixed grades? For that, look, it's going to really take. So last year, I'll say this. I had one period a week that was like this kind of special thing where there were 11th graders and 9th graders in the same room. And I knew all the 11th, but they gave me them because they are kind of a lot of problematic students that I taught twice before. And so the idea was, well, Reynolds knows them, we'll stick them with him. And then I was given a bunch of like meek freshmen also. And the 11th graders completely took over every conversation. They would like try and like muscle the younger guys around. And so what I had to do was like, it took a lot of like conversations and modeling of like, no, you guys can see yourselves as top dog, and that's fine. Like, I'm not even against that. But you need to not look at these people that are 9th grade as less than you or weaker than you, and you don't have to posture so much. Because what would it look like if you actually uplifted someone that was younger? Like they're a dork or they get on your nerves. Show them how it's done then and have that conversation. And so that's how I would kind of start off dealing with that. And then maybe do like group work and the different grades or different levels that you see. Maybe you're mixing kids from different grades. Like there's that could be cool because the older guys or older girls are showing the younger people like how to rock, but maybe it's you're grouping them in with like leaning towards ability or grade level. And then those ability levels can have slightly different types of projects. Like what you're expecting from one is a little bit different than what you're expecting with others. And then in doing activities, one of the things I've learned in the last few years is in doing small group reading or activities, right, which is tricky in high school because there's a lot of nonsense that goes on and it's not a lot of room and it's a lot of setup and it's not as easy as you have like sometimes with younger kids, is you get to walk around the room and monitor what's going on, to actually sit with groups and read with them for a little bit or do the activity with them a little bit and get them to see like how they can do this a little bit better or a little bit differently. And that stuff just all helps. So that's my initial thing. If I was to contact anyone about this, and you can even say in the subject, CJ Reynolds sent me here. Bridget from the Lettered Classroom teaches a multi-age classroom. She has, now hers is 4 to 6, but it's still like a pretty different range. That like 4 to 6th grade is a big deal difference. I would shoot her an email, and I can even, if you do that, please let me, like you can CC me on it, and I'll let Bridget know that you emailed her, and she would be a really good person, I think, to ask that question. Anna is asking, I'm at a regular public school. Sorry, learning to read. Most of my classes are 2/3 or more boys. Most have a lot of energy, which I love, but it's a challenge to harness it and not let the quieter students get overrun. Was that the end of that? I just wanted to make sure there wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's another one.
So it's like, oh, there is?
No, yeah. My freshmen will need our 85. Wait, I think she's talking about that. So in case this is included, my freshmen will need our 85-minute blocks broken up. They have about 10 to 15-minute attention span. I feel overwhelmed by trying to come up with 6 to 8 different activities, chunks of materials a day, especially when I have 2 other preps. And this is literally the longest question ever. Thank you for being comprehensive, all-encompassing, or whatever. What are some hands-on, get out of your seat activities for ELA that have worked for you, and how do you typically break up your class period? So, and I break up my class. Look, don't overcomplicate this, right? This is something that teachers do all the time. 85 minutes is a long time for a class. But what I would do is my class from afar, like if I sent you my daily PowerPoint, it is so mind-numbingly boring looking, right? But it is, because it's the same thing essentially every day. Like every Monday, every day it's pre-class. These are the things we're going to do in class, and this is your homework if there's homework. And Mondays, that pre-class is vocab words, and then there's a test on Friday. On Tuesday, there's a journal entry Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of every single week. That's the pre-class every week. Every day of every week is like exactly the same. Fridays are always assessments and Weird Friday. Wednesdays are always independent reading. Like, so what I would think about is what staples can you put in your lesson, right? So on Mondays, you're doing this same kind of thing every week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, same thing every week. And Fridays are assessment and something like, I do weird stuff on Fridays. The beauty in that is that now I have this structure, this skeleton that I built into my schedule. The students know what is expected of them every day. They know where to find out that information. On my PowerPoint, I break it down into how much time each thing's going to take so that the really energetic kids aren't freaking out about the fact that, like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Like, how long do we have to read for today? How long is this test going to take? How long are we taking notes for? It's like pretty much broken down into like 5, 10, 15-minute chunks. And that helps kids when they're in the middle of something to know, like, oh, all right, this is only going to take 10 minutes. So it's not that big of a deal. I can roll with it. So, and then I find that, like, if I had those 85-minute chunks, I would definitely be doing independent reading every single day for at least 10, 15 minutes. You can feel that out with your students. If they're really high energy, I'd lean more towards 20 if you can get there. Read with your students when they're doing that. And then I would do some sort of activity. And I find that, like, the weirder the stuff, the better. So last year I have this, there's a whole series of videos on my channel about this, but like we did everything from build with Legos, which one of my co-teacher brought all of his Legos in from when he was a kid, and we built scenes from the books with Legos. I've also created characters out of Play-Doh. You go to the dollar store, get the cheap Play-Doh because that stuff dries out anyway, and then you can just chuck it when you're done, or let the kids take them home, which then they really just get all cracked and crumbly and look like crap. But hey, at least it happens at home. You can do a lot of stuff like have them doing like mini presentations to talk about what they know. There's a ton of different stuff. But what I would say is have the skeleton outline and then fill in the blanks. One of my favorite kind of one of my podcasts and like writers that I know is this guy, Jocko Willink, who says discipline equals freedom. And the idea there is that it is not like discipline or consistency does not equal boring. It is you, the teacher, who sprinkle magic on the lesson every day that makes it something special. And so it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. So if there's music behind what you're doing, if there's music behind what you're reading, if there's if you are creating play things with the kids, if you're laying on, like literally laying out on the floor on your belly, building Legos with kids, that builds relationships and builds engagement. The kids see you as a real person. Like there's all these little things that you can do, but it all starts with that simple skeleton structure for me, and then I just take it from there. John Shepard is asking, John Shepard, the Biggie profile picture. Nice work, man. First year teacher, what reading assessment should I use to see the literary skills of my students? I heard about reading inventories, close exercises, but not sure. So John, I do two things in the beginning of the year. Like, well, look, I do a number of little things instead of just like one of those sort of like, like a lot of schools give like I don't know if it's called the STARS test or strawberry test. It's some kind of friggin' test, something like that. It might actually be called that, something stupid. And what it does is it makes kids hate everything initially because they have to take a test in the beginning of the year. What I do instead is when I have students on the first, second day of school, I forget which one it is, they fill out a Who Am I sheet, which is essentially like a really cool, fun sheet that I made, or actually I think I stole it from somewhere and then just changed it to what I wanted. But it is all these different shapes and stuff. And I get to learn everything from their favorite video game, their favorite movie, their favorite TV show, their favorite book, their hero in their life, something they're proud of about themselves. That is going to give you an insight into what do people's handwriting look like and did they complete it or not? Something very simple, right? So now kids are already on your radar for who's doing work and who's not doing work, who's going above and beyond because they colored it all in, and who's just handing in the bare minimum. The next thing I do is guided notes, and that's going to, again, give me a sense of like who's taking these very simple guided notes and actually doing it, who's not, who lost it, who didn't lose it, who handed it in ahead of time and got extra credit. That's another kind of tell. The next thing that we do is write a one-page, I just talked about this, one-page ghost story from the top to the bottom, right? From margin to margin. This lets you know, does someone do the whole thing? Do they think 75% of a page is actually a whole page? Do they go from margin to margin, or do they make it look like a Home Depot or receipt where it's like this big and it's just really kind of like cylindrical? That lets you see their spelling, their handwriting, the way that they speak. Then they read those aloud in class. What does it look like when you read aloud in class? What does it look like when you have to sit and listen to other people? Can you control yourself? I think instead of just that kind, like the regular kind of assessment test, I think in 2 to 3 days of class, I have a much better gauge of who is capable of what. And then sometimes I do like a brief quiz. I'll read like a really short story that's not super interesting, right? So like The Story of an Hour is a really good story. I think that's by Kate Chopin. And you could do that and then just have like some really simple like 10 question thing on there. I use ZipGrader to grade it. I'm not affiliated with them, so it's not like a promotion, but that allows you to just use your phone, scan it, and it goes right into your gradebook immediately. So I find that those things really give me a tell of like what students are capable of more than just taking a quiz. And then as a review in the beginning of the year, we always children's books. I have kids read and write children's books, their own children's books, and we use Storybird, which is a company that I have been affiliated in the past, but I'm not now. And you can make children's books on their website, and it's really fun. It's a really great review to be able to do at the beginning of the year. Liam Jeffries.
Someone just asked if you were Dax Shepard.
Am I Dax Shepard?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Parenthood's one of the best shows that's ever been on TV. We were just watching Kristen Bell on that friggin'. We were talking about last night. This has nothing to do with anything.
Oh my gosh, see.
What the hell's that? There's a show on YouTube where people have to eat hot wings, like wings with hot sauce on them. And they
in
get
different levels of it.
Literally
So like
a table with hot sauce on it with wings. A guy who's a not very interesting host with a plain black backdrop, and they get the most ridiculous people to go on the show.
Hot ones, someone said.
Hot ones, yes. It is like, but I don't know how they got that big, or how do they get these people on there?
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. Maybe on our YouTube channel we should start off.
Oh, he said yes, and Dax Shepard nailed it on that show. We
he crushed it. Apparently, he can eat like super hot stuff.
Oh, that's right, because we watched the one with his wife.
Yeah. All right. So I am not Dax Shepard. I'm Reynolds. Liam Jeffries is asking, starting as an English teacher while teacher training at the same time in September, it's in a pupil referral unit. Any tips about being thrown straight into teaching without any formal training? What is a pupil referral unit?
No.
I want to answer your question, but can you look out for Liam Jeffries and see what that is? Because that might change my answer. So I'm going to answer that, but as soon as you kind of tell me what that is, I can get on your question. Do you have another one while you're waiting for that?
I do.
Can you wait and see?
There you go.
Richard Royster likes the hot one. Richard Royster is amazing. If anyone has any questions for Richard Royster, he is a vice principal in Kentucky, and he has his own YouTube channel that he uses to raise awareness and glorify his students, which is
How'd you Donna
awesome.
said that it might be in-school suspension?
That's what I wonder. So let's see what Liam says.
Well, he might not be here.
Because I'm also thinking of like when they have like a separate part of the building for students that are
it's
severe.
a school for kids that have been excluded from a mainstream school. I'm from the UK.
Okay, awesome. And then what's the first?
Right
So starting as an English teacher while teacher any tips about being thrown training teacher without any formal training? So Liam, I would say, look, I wish sometimes we need to have like a call-in show. I'm really thinking about doing that, to have people call in.
That's the next evolution.
I think that is the next. We're going to become Ask Gary Vee.
Really well for teaching. It's really plausible because we have an extra phone line just sitting there that we don't use.
We're going to figure that out. Maybe we can do that next week. Just to be fun.
People want
anyway,
that?
People have said before that they want to do that. I think
I'll get on that.
I've worked in. Here's the thing. My sense tells me, right? I get a lot of students every year, whether it's for testing, whether it's in my class, whether it's my after school program, whether people that just go and talk with someone, that are the kids that not a lot of other people want to deal with. And the thing about students like that is their whole life, they've been the kid that no one else wants to deal with. They wear people down. They can be like the worst behavior ever. They figure out your nuances and what buttons to push, and then they do it, or they say it, or they push harder, or they like do everything they can. Because what I think, and many times this is me projecting, which I don't really enjoy doing, but if I am just kind of thinking about this out loud, it is kids that have in many times not had anyone kind of stick it out in their lives. And now you are saying, no, I'm here. I want to be your teacher. I'm going to stick it out. And then they're just going, we'll see. We'll see how much you got, how long you can last. And then it is your job now to see how long you can last. I have had kids that have living literally like I've come home and I'm like, I don't even want to teach anymore because this kid is so incredibly difficult to deal with that it makes me hate going to class every day. But what you're doing is, one, you're building relationships with students, and you can start that from the first day. And if some kid tells you to go after yourself, you're going to go, well, I don't think that's even possible. Be ready for that, right? But at the same time, you are going to wear them down with your kindness, right? Because what happens is once you stick with someone, right? Once that kinship is built, at some point, that child will get in trouble. Someone else will give up on them. Someone else is going to quit. And if you can be the one who has consistently been there over time, and this might take weeks, months, it might take years to get to that place. but I've had this happen where like kids have graduated from high school that I had as a freshman, right? And they even stayed back. So it took 5 years of high school, and now they're in Amsterdam and they're living this different life. And I'm the person that they hit up, right? I'm not the only one that this happens to. There's like a lot of people in my school that this happens to, where like we cultivate these relationships and they get like these phone calls or text messages. I've had kids where like I worked on them. I've tried to help them out. And a couple of years ago, I had a kid call me from his pickup truck that he was living in Las Vegas in the cold at night, that freaked out, figured out how to call me on Facebook, which I didn't even know was a thing. And I took the call at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Because what we're doing, again, is planting seeds. And then you just don't know when those seeds are going to blossom and come to fruition. And so you need to be ready for when you're needed. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But damn it, like I said, you can try and make it as thirsty as possible. And how you do that is by making life, the world, outside of school, your class, seem as attractive as possible. So it is literally something they cannot resist, because it looks like, damn it, not only does that look amazing, but I think I can get there. And so how do you help kids then reverse engineer? I know I'm going all over the place. How do you help them then reverse engineer what they want to be? Bro, what do you want to be when you're older? I want to be a gamer. I want to be a YouTube star. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a surgeon. All right, let's reverse engineer that. Here's where you want to be. This is how much money you want to make. This is what your house is going to look like. Now, can we back it up to what does that require to get there? What do you need to be able to do to be on a basketball team, to be a YouTuber? Then, like, let's break that down. What do all those things cost? Where do you have to go? Who should you know? What do you have to do? All that stuff. It makes things attainable, because then all you have to do is take these micro steps to work towards your goal. And I think that that's how you break into kids.
That was all for that.
Sometimes.
For that guy who's at that different kind of school, right? I also think, like, look up people like Josh Shipp. Is that his name? Like, he was once that kid.
Yeah, Josh Shipp has a great TED Talk about that.
Resource for, like, I mean, like, those are some special kids. He was a special case, and it's like where they feel like
he was in foster care for a long time.
But it's like, how do you actually break through to that kid? Because I think that's like something that.
But that happened because
you
his
have to
foster
understand,
parents
like, child psychology as well.
Refused to give up on him.
I know.
He stole their car. He stole their money. They did all kinds of crazy stuff, and they were like, "And
yeah, so what? We still love you, right?" And I just love it.
And that's way easier said than done. But
someone asked, "What happened to the kid in Las Vegas?"
So he is still bouncing around. But actually, tomorrow I'm supposed to go for coffee with another old student that knows him. And that is, so she bangs with him because he used to not like that.
I know.
She has her own family.
Word.
She has her own family. And he and his family were living with her and her family for a while, but I don't know what happened with that. So kind of one of those kids that like call when they need help. And then you're just there for them and you offer advice and stuff like that. So if you ask me that question next week, I will know the answer to it.
Possibly. Hopefully.
Liz is asking, any advice for organization for a first-year teacher teaching 9th grade ELA? What supports have you found to be the most effective for incoming students? I think, so look, you can't really say, I'm going to answer the second part first. What supports have I found to be effective for incoming students? I think each year that's going to change. It depends on your students. There's no one size fits all in education. There's no silver bullet in education. But I have found the one thing that I do every year, it's really dark all of a sudden, is I eat lunch with my students every day. And I offer my room up as a space to be before school starts. So if kids want to eat breakfast, if they just want to chill and be in my room, I keep it a chill environment. You're not allowed to come out or in like kind of like horse around and stuff. But if you need like just a safe, quiet space to be, excuse me, my room is it. I'm burping a lot. It's disgusting. In video, I typically edit this stuff out. But that's what I would do is like offer that space up to be able to give kids a safe space. That's a really big support. And it's a good space to connect with students if they want to connect. Other than that, it's about meeting your students, seeing what they need, and talking with your special ed departments, talking with parents, and finding out what other things like kids are really going to need, and then shaping your class around that. Hold on, let me read this first part before I do it. Yeah. Any advice for organization? I think, look, in terms of organization, I have a lot of stuff in my room, like a lot, and it doesn't look like it, but I am of the mindset that like Thomas Edison wanted everything that could possibly be used in an experiment in his giant building where he did all of his experiments and stuff. And in that, I think the beauty of that is if I need foam core board, poster board, markers, erasers, screws, like whatever I need, it's always all in my classroom. Label everything, because I want students to be able to get it for themselves. I want them to be able to put it back in the right spot. So I have drawer with just says highlighters on it, where my stapler goes. I literally drew it out on the desk. The stapler goes in the stapler spot. You don't put it back in that spot, I might staple you, which I won't really do, but I'm going to tell a kid that because it could scare them. And it's just kind of funny. But I find that labeling things really works as well. And then getting rid of anything you're not going to use, especially as a first-year teacher. Everybody tries to give you all their old crap. You, as first-year teachers, are a way for veteran teachers to unload all the stuff in the room that they don't want anymore, because they can't bring themselves to throw out that faded roll of bulletin board paper, or that really whack border that they have, or those terrible posters that they were given by some old teacher when they started teaching. So get rid of all that junk, and then I'd rather have less stuff that's new and clean and nice in a room, because it shows that you care, than have it look like your first apartment when, you know, your mom gave you that shag carpet and your grandmom gave you that green velvet couch, which is actually sounds kind of cool. But those are my two quick.
A few more. 3 more.
Got it, dude. Lucas Sheets. That's kind of an awesome. Is that your real name, bro? Do you have a name Lucas Sheets? That sounds like you're in a novel. And then Lucas Sheets. That's awesome. Is asking, just finished week 1, moving into content this week for U.S. history. Is there a good way to start? Lucas, I think, I was just talking to my wife about this today. I think, one, you know, I always say being excited about what you're doing and telling kids you're excited to be there is a good move. I think explaining whatever it is you're going to learn, why it's important. Now, history, right, is one of those things that we always go, you have to learn history so you won't make the same mistakes, or something along those lines. But I would break it down on like a life level or a soul level. Like, why does this matter? Like, if you're, whatever it is that you're studying, how can this become applicable to someone's life? Is it like, so my wife and I, because my wife's homeschooling this year, we were trying to think of like macro ideas to teaching smaller things. So like fear as a culture, right? So like fear as a culture has led from everything from the burning of witches to like, you know, slavery, to like people not letting like different races get married or different sexes get married. Like, these are all a lot of things that are based in fear. Right? I'm not trying to question anyone's morality here or anything, but like, I mean, don't burn a witch. So I think that I like when you just shake your head on the side, like you're just like, what are you talking about? Dude, I don't even know what I'm talking about sometimes. You know what I mean? I make jokes and I'm just like, I don't even know what that meant.
Yeah, your jokes are definitely just random crap that pops in your head.
But I find that like it's a culture of fear that we largely live in. And so like, if we can start with that, and then start with, have you ever done something out of fear? Like you killed a bee, you killed a spider, you like wouldn't stop for a hitchhiker, whatever it is. Like, what have you done out of fear? And then go, okay, now this is what we're going to learn about today. And you're going to see how Benjamin Franklin did the same thing, or how like the reason we separated from the British had to do with this. Like, I think it's tying that into life moments and to real like whys that helps students a lot. And I try to be, I want to be able to do that for every single thing that happens in my class. It's not, you need to know this. You can't grow up and not know about the Boston Tea Party, or you can't grow, or this is going to be on the test, or you guys are going to see when you get to college, you're going to need to know this. That's not enough. It has to be tied into a part of life, and it has to be more important than that to really pull kids in. Except for kids that like taking tests. Those kids just, they'll do it for that. Brennan is asking, I'm 22 and a first-year teacher in 5th grade at a school that I went to. Kind of awesome. I agree that relationships are king, and I want my students to know that I have been in their shoes and understand what they might be going through. I want to make the year really fun, but don't want them to think that they can get away with things because I'm young. Advice on how to avoid them seeing me as an older friend or babysitter. So one, Brandon, I'm about to ruin your life.
Right? I know exactly what you're going to say.
You're old, man. You're not cool. 22 is 5 minutes from death when you're in the 5th grade, right?
That's like our son. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's like when our old student Romina comes. How old's Romina? 26?
25, 26?
25, 26. And she's like young and hip, right? And then she comes in and the kids are just like, you're old. Like, why aren't you married already? That's what Brody always asks you. Why aren't you married? How come you don't have a boyfriend? Why are you still living at your parents' house? Why don't you have your own house? Like, you're old as dirt. So that's one. I think the way that you create, build relationships, don't let anything make you afraid of building relationships, right? It can only be good. When kids try and question whether you are a friend or a teacher, like you had to call mom, like you had to raise your voice, like you had to have them stay after school or have them come sit with you or step in the hallway real quick for a talk. To me, it always becomes this conversation. Bro, or I teach all boys, so bro, the thing you need to understand is that I do care about you. That's why I bother to learn things about you and build a relationship. But the fact of the matter is that I care so much that I'm willing to do anything that it takes to help you find success in your life. It was never about us being friends. We can be friends later. When you're in 6th grade, let's be friends. Right now, what I'm being is a mentor and I'm trying to help you out. And even with my own children, I tell them all the time, like, put that in the trash, or don't put that on this way, or like, this is how you stir something, or this is how you water the garden, or this is how you do whatever. You're not in trouble. But I'm like a life coach for you, right? Like, I'm literally coaching you through life so you can be the best version of yourself. And if that makes you angry with me sometimes, or you're confused by what I'm doing, let's have that conversation. Come talk to me about it. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're thinking. But I will always only make choices ever that are based on how to help you be the most successful version of yourself ever. And that conversation, when you break it down like that, no one can fight that. Like, they might still be mad because they're little, right? They're going to they do that thing where they're like, I hate you forever. I'll never talk to you again. But here's the honest truth. Kids are like puppies. And puppies, you can yell at them 1 second or get mad that they pooped on your rug. But the next 5 minutes later, they're like in the room playing with you and want to jump on the couch and stuff like that. So like, they are very, very resilient. But it's about, breaking down why you're doing what you're doing and really trying to help them understand that. But you're going to have to do that more than once. So you have to have patience for that. Like, you might have to tell the same kid 20 times a year, dude, I'm doing this because I really care about you. And not in a Chris Brown, Rihanna, I'm punching you in the face because I care about you kind of a way, but like, because I actually really deeply care about what happens with you. And best of luck, dude. Rima is asked, I think that's how you say it. Rima is asking, do you believe in starting out strict and then loosening up? Nope. I think starting out, and here's why. I tried it. I've been there. I did the thing. I tried to do like the don't smile till Christmas. It lasted 2 days. And I felt like I have had a friend that had Tourette's growing up. And when we would be in public, he would hold it in, right? Like, he would try not to like stammer or have like a tick that he had. But then when we were alone or when we got home or back in the car, it would like flare up, right? It was like holding all that in just made it flare up later. And I think that smiles are like that also, that if you hold them all in, then it's like you're just going to explode at some point. So I think that being consistent is way better. My students in the beginning of the year, I get the same comments every year. Reynolds, why aren't you a stand-up comedian, right? Because I like to joke. I like to laugh. I like to make fun of things and people and the school. And like, it's just, and in a place of love, right? I'm not trying to like crap on my school, but in doing that, kids often think that I'm just going to be silly. And what they find is that I'm extremely consistent. That if I get mad about something, or if I tell you about something, or if I correct your behavior in a particular way because it's inappropriate, that I do it to everyone, and no matter who it is. So it could be the freakishly tall, muscled, bearded freshman in the back corner or the tiny Muppet in the front of the room. Like, no matter who it is, I don't care who you are. I don't care how you look at me. I don't care what you're telling me you're going to do to me. If you see me outside of school, I'm still going to keep it real, and I'm still going to be consistent with you. And I think that over time, students really learn that you want to be fun, because you know what? School sucks. And so you want to have fun as much as you can, but you cannot, under any circumstances, mistake my kindness for weakness. And in doing that and being consistent, you'll see that you can just be just as fun and loving and caring and wild and silly as you ever wanted to be. And then remind the kids, yo, look, I can only do this if we're gonna also crush it. So like, this is who I am. But if you're gonna get all carried out, like take it out of hand and get carried away, like we're gonna have to change some things in class. But like just being super consistent like that is what really helps. That's it. Cool. That's all we have time for, because dinner is ready, and I have to get to that. So look, friends, if you weren't here earlier, I want to tell you 2 quick things before you sign off. And I see 2 people already signed off, so please hang in there for a second. 1, if you're a first or second year teacher, my friend Jen Jones, who you can find on Instagram at, I think it's Hello Jen Jones. She's a fantastic person to follow on Instagram. She also has something called Hello LitCon, which is a teacher professional development that you have to pay for, but she's offering first and second year teachers 50% off, which is a really big deal, right? Because she realizes that like teachers don't get enough professional development that's good. And it's like, first year teachers just often don't make the money that allows them to go to really good professional development. I'm not getting paid for this. I went to it this week. I thought it was so, I will pass it to you. So there's like, I don't get anything out of this except for you just getting the kind of help that you need. And if you need any more help than this, please, or if your question didn't get answered, we're here every Sunday night at 5 p.m. You can also go to the Facebook page, Real Rap With Reynolds Teacher Talk, or you can go to our website, realrapwithreynolds.com, and sign up for mentoring or to have me come speak your school.
And
that's
because
it.
You don't always read all the comments, there's so many first-year teachers that are all like starting this week.
Yeah,
so.
First-year teachers, I'm going to leave you with this.
And all the teachers starting this week.
Please remember to just have fun. There's nothing, when they tell you in college that if you ruin the first day or ruin the first week, or I know Harry Wong's real big on that stuff, it is a lie that you cannot bounce back from that. You 100% can bounce back from that. So you should go into school on that first day as excited as you can be. Find one student that feels like they are unseen or that is nervous and help that student out. And then find another one and another one and another one. Walk the halls. Look for the kid that can't open his locker, the kid that dropped his book bag, the kid that can't find his class and he's holding the syllabus looking like he doesn't know where to go. And say, hey, my man, can I help you find something? Yo, having trouble with your locker? Bro, I had the same problem in high school. Let me give you a hand with that. Eating alone in the lunchroom, like don't say something like, hey, I noticed you're eating alone in your lunchroom. Yo, man, just so you know, my classroom's open. Or go down and sit. Yo, my man, like, are you playing Fortnite right now? Have you been playing Cupheads? Have you been playing Resident Evil? Like whatever the hell I don't think anyone plays Resident Evil anymore, but whatever it is, you're finding ways to connect with students, and that's what you're there to do anyway. And then it just makes the school a better place, your classroom a better place, and it makes you're doing the thing you hoped to be doing. And so that's what I'm going to leave you with. Everybody, hope you have a great week. Hope school starts strong, and we'll see you here next week. Awkward ending. Peace. Awkward ending because I got to hit lots of stuff, and it's never enough.